Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One-Stop Co-op Shop, where we discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today we're looking at the Too Many Bones series from Chip Theory Games. And also at the end of this video, I'll be deciding our 2 big winners for our Chip Theory Games giveaway contest. Quick disclaimer that Chip Theory Games is sponsoring the contest, and they did send me a review copy of the game. We covered Too Many Bones years ago on the podcast, and at the time I wasn't too keen on it overall. But with time, perspectives can change, and I've been playing it a lot on Tabletop Simulator and in person, so has my opinion of the game improved? Let's find out and get to the list. We're going to start off with a pro at number 5, and that's the variety in the tyrants you can face and the enemies you fight in battle. I love how the game gives each enemy a unique feel through just a small number of statistics and also a fairly manageable list of keywords, nothing as long as Cloudspire. But on top of that, I think it's great that the tyrant you choose will determine which types of enemies you face, which will give you sort of directions to pursue in your leveling up. You might need to address this common type of skill or that one. And the tyrants themselves have unique encounter cards that really change things up, a unique end encounter when you fight them, which tends to be very different from anybody else's. And also in simple, basic terms, the fact that each tyrant has a different length of the campaign to defeat them will encourage different types of leveling, give the game a different feeling of pacing. It's just really cool how switching up one thing can change up so much. My next point is also a pro, pretty core to how the game works, and that's the encounter card system. At the beginning of each day, you'll draw an encounter card with some story elements on the front, and usually 2 choices of how you proceed on the back, some causing battle, some not. And like with the tyrants and enemies, the sheer variety on hand here, the huge differences in what you'll do, the special conditions they apply to encounters, or the goofy things you'll engage in, can make the game really feel fun and unique and different every time you play. Though I'll throw in a caution that all that uniqueness can sometimes have a negative side, in that you'll sometimes run into cards where the special effects aren't entirely clear, but usually checking the FAQ or going online will clear things up pretty quickly. But I do have a full-on con, the biggest one in the game for me at number 3, and that's how swingy the difficulty can be. The key element behind this swinginess comes from our number 4, and that's the fact that if you beat an encounter, you get a bunch of rewards, and if you don't, you get nothing and often have to spend time recovering. This can lead to a pretty strong rich get richer or poor get poorer situation where if you lose a few encounters in a row, you might as well restart because you won't be leveled enough to win the game. And this feeling of swinginess also creeps into the combat sometimes, especially when an enemy gets initiative on you, runs up to you and rolls an incredible attack and defeats you before you even get a turn. It can definitely be frustrating. But we're right back to a pro with number 2, keeping with our theme of variety, and that's the Gearlocs you can play as. Like in Cloudspire, Chip Theory did a great job of making each Gearloc feel fully unique, from their 16 skill dice to other special mechanics for each of them. And for me at least, the joy of experimenting with each of them, trying them all out, seeing what makes them tick and succeed is one of the main selling points for the game. But on top of that, I have fun just leveling them differently and trying out different paths. Now, I won't say that every skill is useful, some of them kind of feel like duds, but there are definitely at least 2 or 3 ways to really kind of fine-tune your Gearloc, and that's enough for me to feel like playing the same guy 4 or 5 times in a row still isn't going to be boring. And we're going to end with one more pro for number 1, that's 4 out of 5, and that's the tactical combat and especially the resource management within that combat. Combat is where you'll spend the majority of your time in Too Many Bones, and a lot of it is pretty basic, like enemy AI is super easy to resolve, but the great choices you have on your turn, where do you want to move, how do you want to spend your dexterity, do you want to defend, do you want to attack, which skill dice do you want to roll, which results will you accept for those skill dice. It's a nice little puzzle, especially when you get mid to late in a campaign and have a lot of options available. And when you're playing with 2, 3, or even 4 Gearlocs, and great combos become available and you can gang up on guys or use abilities that synergize, it's an awesome tactical game and I really love it. So overall, Too Many Bones is kind of an odd one for me, because if you watch Shelf Life, you'll know that sometimes I really like a game at first, but get cold on it over time. But this is one of the rare ones where I think I kind of got it wrong and didn't give it its full chance early on. And playing it recently, I've been enthralled with it. I find it so much fun, and I want to play it again and again. But for prospective buyers, the big thing I might warn you about is the swinginess I mentioned, and how the randomness and luck can make the experience frustrating sometimes. And also, while the original core game, or just Undertow, do have a lot of content and I think are enough to enjoy the game, if you really love it, you're probably going to want to end up getting both of them and a bunch of extra Gearlocs and other expansions, and this could balloon to be a $200 or $300 or even $400 prospect for purchase. And to finish out this video, as promised, we're going to determine our 2 winners for the big Chip Theory Games giveaway. Big thank you to Chip Theory Games for generously offering to do this. And each of these 2 winners will choose their prize. They'll get either all 3 core sets for Hoplomachus, or Too Many Bones Undertow and 2 expansion Gearlocs. So pretty awesome stuff. We had, by the way, 249 unique entrants in the contest, and 168 of them got all 4 questions right. So that cut it down to about 2/3. Of those 168, 20 were Patreon patrons, which means they got an extra entry in the contest. So we have 188 vying for this overall. I've got a random little online roller here. We're going to do a D4, D6, and D8. You'll see how it all works once we get to the spreadsheet. So we got a 2, 4, 7. So we go to form 2, column 4, row 7. So Mark Williamson, you are our first of 2 winners. Congratulations, Mark. And we're going to do it one more time. 2 again. 1, 7. Okay. Seem to like those numbers. So form 2, 1 and 7. Hey! This is great. This is Patrick Hurley. He's one of the regular contributors on our Slack. So really happy to see one of our Slack members and Patreon supporters win. Congratulations, Patrick. So our Mark Williamson, Patrick Hurley, they made it easy for me by making it on the same sheet. I'll send emails to both of you to congratulate you, and basically you just have to let me know which thing you want. Do you want the Too Many Bones bundle, or do you want the Hoplomachus bundle? And then I'll put you in touch with Shannon at Chip Theory. Congrats to the 2 winners. Thank you everyone who entered. That was a lot of fun. We'll try to get some more fun contests going for you soon. Thanks for watching the review. Good gaming, and we'll see you at the next stop.